So today's topic, first council, is quite popular topic. This topic came out last year, but I don't know this year will come out or not. Never mind. Everyone have to know the first council, which is very important in the history of Buddhism. You know why important? First, before that, I have to tell you the sources. The sources are important because a lot of people got the wrong sources. They heard it from, they get it from a Facebook or small books here and there, whether recognized correct or not, you don't know. First thing, you must get the right source, original source, and primary source, the source that can be traced to the early Buddhism. It's the right source and written by compiled by the right authors. I always emphasize right source, right authors. Source must be primarily related to the early stage of Buddhism and recognized by all the scholars. This is first thing. If you got the wrong source, you got all the wrong information from the beginning to end. No point you study days and night. Everything wrong, you see. The very first thing, you must get the right point. Yes, I am going to the right place, I will tell you the right direction. Then you go smoothly to the right place, achieve your target. To tell you to go to KL, or you point to Holland, you go end up in Holland. You see, no point. You see, first thing, direction, source must be correct. I always emphasize that. And recognize source. So this, I refer you to Vinaya text. You know, the Buddhist canonical, they have Nikaya, Vinaya, Abhidhamma, and later commentary. Normally, I don't recommend, because commentary will compile few hundred years after Buddha passed away. And then, whereas the most reliable one, either you get it from Nikaya, Sutra Nikaya, or from Vinaya text. Because during the first council, or no need to talk about council earlier on, Buddha always say what? Dhamma Vinaya. Buddha never mentioned in the sutta that, oh, I talk about Abhidhamma, this and that. He always mentioned Vinaya text, Vinaya rules, and the sutta discourses, these two things. So for this topic, all the information I've got, about 90 or 80, mainly from the Vinaya text. Sutta itself seldom talk about, or never talk about first council. We can only find from the Vinaya. Vinayas are the texts that lists out all the rules for the monk, for the nuns. So part of it, they have divided into few sections. Here, in this case, the section that talks about the first council can be found in the Chulavaga, the chapter on the division of Chulavaga. There you can find the first council, the second council. So what do you mean by council? Council doesn't mean a group or committee member, you know. Here, Buddhist council refer to the assembly, Sangiti. All the monks gather together, discuss, decide the teaching of Buddha, or decide the rules pertaining or concerning the Sangha members. So they don't simply call a council meeting. They only conducted a meeting when they face something, you know, something crucial, something when it's necessary. So first of all, I just give you some overview regarding the first council: when, where, and why. Over all these three items, when was it held, where, and why. If you can remember all these things, I think exam should be no problem. So the details of this when, where, why, let me explain after this, you see. The first council are important facts to remember. When. So before I talk about this, I just briefly give you the introduction regarding the Buddhist council according to Theravada's tradition. In fact, all the tradition, whether Mahayana or Theravada or other school, they recognize this first and second council because more or less historical. Even those the descriptions, all the details of these two councils, first and second council, cannot be found from the archaeological records, but all the information are mentioned in the text, in the Buddhist text. So basically from the Vinaya text. So if you can get a copy of this Vinaya text, then you can find out from the revision of Chulawaga. There you can find out all the details of the council meeting. So in the history of Buddhism, there are, up to today, mainly 6 councils were held. In fact, there are a lot of council meetings held here and there, but they recognize the 6 main important council meetings. The first council meeting we are going to talk today was held 3 months after Buddha's Parinibbana, you see, in Rajagaha. Then the second council in Vaisali, about 100 years after Buddha passed away. The third council in Pataliputra during Asoka's time, you see, third council. Fourth council, there are 2 fourth council. One was held in India, Northwest India, but not recognized by Theravada. The one recognized by another Buddhist school called Sarvastivada. But then Theravada, they recognized their own fourth council, which was held in Matale, Sri Lanka. The fourth council was important in the sense that all the Pali canonical texts were decided and written down black and white for the first time in Sri Lanka. So that's an important fourth council, which are not going to talk today. Maybe Brother Ananda going to talk about the second, third, and fourth councils. I only talk about the first council. So fifth and sixth council were held recently. Recently means about not long ago. Fifth council was held in Mandalay, Burma, about 100 over years ago. Then the latest one was sixth council held in Yangon, about 60, 70 years ago. So all together in the history of Buddhism, we have 6 major council meetings, right from Buddha's time, after Buddha's Parinibbana, up to about 70 over years ago in Yangon. 6 council, 2,000 over years, 6 times major. Of course, other countries, Sri Lanka, Thailand, they have their own minor councils, but we don't take it into account. We recognize only the 6 major ones. Okay, just an introduction regarding the council. The meaning of council meeting, monks gather and discuss the sutta, discuss the Vinaya rules. At the end, they rectify, correct, confirm, then they decide so that everybody follow the correct teaching of Buddha. So that's the main purpose of the council meeting. Okay, meaning of council, general introduction, then we come to the overall facts, important facts regarding this first council. So I just briefly give you the introduction of the first council. You just have to know 3 things. When was it held? Where? Because examiner always ask about these 3 things. When was it held? Where? Why? Why is it important? What are the outcome with historical significance? They want to know the historical significance. Of course, apart from this, you have to know the proceedings. When you write answer, you describe the proceeding, who decided the rule, who recited the sutta, this and that, you see. Then other agenda, minor rule, these are the, some proceeding, who chair the meeting, all this you have to know a bit. So overall, all these 3 items plus some the detail of the proceeding is good enough for your exam. Even though last year this topic came out, I don't know whether it come out or not. Normally, from the past year question, they repeat and repeat and repeat, who knows this year come out. Never mind, you read everything also can for your knowledge, because this first council is extremely important. Even if it won't come out with your exam, it's for your good knowledge. Why? because in the first time in the history of Buddhism, all the teachings of Buddha, whether Vinaya rules, whether all the discourses, sermons were memorized and decided by Ananda and Upali during this meeting. And the meeting attended by all the Arahant, memorized everything they had heard from Ananda and Upali. From there, they go back, memorize, and taught all their disciples. In this ways, we are all through the oral transmission, so due to good memory, they transmit from generation to generation until today. So today's Theravada claim to follow the teaching as decided or during this meeting, even though after 2,000 over years, modern scholars believe that the current version more or less have been revised. It's inevitable. Some changes have been made, sure one, but more or less the essence, the main point should be there. So Theravada call themselves the follower of the Thera's teaching, Theravada, the teaching of the Thera. Thera refers to all the Arahant, the Buddha's disciples who attended this first meeting, you know. So those teachings memorized by the 500 Arahant and transmitted or passed on from generation to generation until today. So today, what we learn is more or less what we had heard indirectly. Those teachings decided during this meeting, you know. So it's important in the sense that you have to know the purpose of the council. What are the outcome of the purpose? Why is it important to us today? Okay. So before the meetings, there are events that leads to the first council. Why this council was called up? Why suddenly people, Mahakasapa, thought about it? You see, so the causes. So you have to refer to 11 Kanaka of Chulavaka. You don't, in the exam, you don't have to quote of Chulagawa section, what. No need. This one for MBE senior level. It's not master degree or diploma or BA degree. Then you have to be very specific. Your level, you just say from the Vinaya is good enough. People know that you get from the right source and not from the small booklet, some temple, some small library. No, you pinpoint from the Vinaya. Pali Vinaya is good enough. Okay. So the reason why this council was held, first, you know, when Buddha passed away or in the Pali Nibbana, and the body is still in Kusinara for 7 days waiting for Mahakasapa to return, you see. So that time Mahakasapa and his 500 disciples were not around. They were somewhere in Pawa, a small town, I think less than 50 kilos when we went there, quite near to Kusinara, you see, with the 500 disciples on the way back to Kusinara. So halfway they met an ascetic, you know, ascetic, naked ascetic, not Buddhist, called Ajivaka. Ajivaka ascetic is another school, not Buddhist school. Those days they call philosophical school. There was more than 60 over school during Buddha's time, whether Jains, Brahminism, whether Ajivaka, whether those dog ascetic, cow ascetic, various type of practitioners. So this Ajivaka ascetic was holding a celestial flower, you know, they call Mandarawa. So Mahakasapa and the disciple were wondering how he got this, something happened to Buddha or to the Sangha somewhere. So he stopped the Ajivaka ascetic. Then Ajivaka ascetic informed or told Mahakasapa the bad news. Oh, your master Gautama I just entered Paralippana few days ago. So this is a bad news. So he went there and he got the news, he got the flower. So, but this Mahakasapa, at first he didn't know. Only when this Ajivaka naked ascetic told him, then he realized. So after hearing the sad news, Mahakasapa's 500 disciples were different reaction, Those enlightened Arahant, they don't simply shout and make noise. They remain calm, they contemplate, they say, oh, life is impermanent, very calm, very neutral. Whereas those junior monks, they're making hell lot of noise, some beating the chest, pull the hair. The Indian style always beat the chest, right here, some pull the hair, some lie on the floor, roll here, roll there, and cry. Oh, so sad, our master passed away, or something like that. But some just do some chanting, all different reactions. So, but Mahakasapa was quite calm. He got all the news, then he decided to call all the disciples to go back to Kusinara. But there was one disciple, old monk. In fact, even though he was quite new, ordained recently by Mahakasapa. So this old monk called Subhada. You see, the name is it here. Let me see. The old Subhada, the joy. He reacted differently, because out of 500 disciples of Mahakasapa, some enlightened one, they contemplate, remain very calm. Some new one couldn't control themselves, roll here and there and cry. But this another one, this old Subhada, a different reaction. He was very happy. He rejoiced. He said, oh, from now on, nobody can tell us what to do, not to do this, not to do that. You should do this, you should do that. He was referring to the Lord Buddha, who laid down a lot of rules. Not do this, not do that. This one against this one, and all the monks have to adhere to it. He had to follow the rule. So this old man, Subhada, the disciple of Mahakasapa, he was very happy. Oh, nobody can control me. We are not bound by all these rules. From now on, I can do this, I can do that. Now I can do whatever we like. But then his master, Venerable Mahakasapa, he overheard, he said, wow, this my disciples, he acted in a different ways. How can he feel happy when the master passed away? Just because he refused to follow this rule, that rule. Mahakasapa was a bit worried, felt alarmed. He realized that if all the monks follow the same behaviors, Klang kabut, all the rules lay down also no point. So people will break the rule anytime they want. Break the precept anytime they want, simply because the master is no more around. Right? Cannot. Rules must use to control the behavior, to train them, to discipline Sangha. Otherwise, they set a bad example for lay people. People never respect your Sangha. Sooner or later, the Sangha also break down and disappear. Then the whole Buddhism sasana no more appear in this world, no more. You see, then no more Sangha, no teaching. Buddhism all gone. You see, he worried. Mahakasapa worried. You see. So he asked the disciple quickly go back to Kusinara, and after that, he feel like calling a council member to rectify, to strengthen all these rules. Everybody must discipline themselves. And this is later. You see, he worried wrong teaching and wrong rules crept into the sasana. You see, so sooner or later the Sangha will split, right or not? The whole thing, the sasana will disappear. See, so okay, they all quickly rush back. So rush back to Kusinara. So the cremation of Buddha's body remain were done, and the distribution of Buddha relic. This is another story. So everything done up already. Cremation, distribution of relics, 8 portion relic, plus ashes plus the container. So all 10 stupa were erected. This is a separate issue, which I'm not going to talk about. This part of history. So after the distribution, Mahakasapa decided for assembly among council meeting lah. So you know why lah? Because he was worried. He worried about after hearing the old Subhada statements, who rejoice, So he selected he decided to select 500 Arahant monks, because Arahant are all enlightened. You see, they know what to say, what to chant, this and that. You see, so he out of so many monks who present at the cremation in Kusinara, so he chose and he managed to choose 499, sort of one. Then other Sangha say, oh, Brother Ananda should be included, even though, because why Mahakasapa did not choose Ananda in the first hand? Because Ananda not enlightened Arahant yet. He was only a Sotapanna, first stage of sainthood. So the main purpose for criteria for Mahakasapa was must be Arahant. But somehow he only got 499. So other bhikkhus say, never mind, Ananda must be there. Why Ananda must be there? Because Ananda was a personal attendant of Buddha for past 20 over years. He followed Buddha here and there, and he heard almost all, if not all, the sutta from directly or personally from Buddha's mouth. So that was a condition that Venerable Ananda told Buddha, when I serve as your personal attendant, please repeat all please repeat or recited whatever you had taught, whatever sutta that you had recited and taught, all the people will repeat one more time so that I can learn and remember. So because Ananda learned and knew all the sutta directly and personally from Buddha, so other monks say, rightfully he must be included in a meeting so that everyone can hear what Ananda has decided personally from Buddha. So Mahakasapa decided, okay, 499 Arahant plus Venerable Ananda, 500 monks that can attend the first council. But okay, the thing is that Ananda that time not enlightened yet, so he feel that he have to practice very hard so that during a meet he can attend as an Arahant better lah. So that night he went back and practice and meditate until late night, Then he was very tired, so he wanted to lie down and sleep. So when he lifted his leg upwards, and before his head fell on the pillow, halfway the head below, still not on the pillow, the leg upward in the air, he suddenly got enlightened. He learned something, he felt something, and then he meditated something. Oh, enlightened already. So this is the only example that Buddhist monk got enlightened, not sitting down meditation, halfway sleep, halfway get up, halfway going down, halfway the leg get up, and he got enlightened in such in a very unique way. You see, Ananda was the only one. So he was enlightened already just before the next day's council meeting. So the earlier on, Mahakasapa has chosen 500 monks, including Ananda. So now officially 500 Arahant. So they also decided the venue where Rajagaha. Rajagaha, they also all the monks have to go to Rajagaha from Kusinara to walk to Rajagaha. Rajagaha was in Magadha. Those days are under King Bimbisara. But after King Bimbisara passed away, and during Buddha's Parinibbana, the king is no more Bimbisara, but his son called Ajatasattu. So Ajatasattu was a king of Magadha kingdom in Rajagaha. And then he, because of the king, he can support all the 500 monks, dana, alms food. So with his support, then there was no problem of getting alms food. So if the meeting held somewhere else, maybe 500 monks cannot get enough food. So the right place in Rajagaha, foods with no problem, you see. So the venue had decided Rajagaha. Where was the exact point? On top, one of the 5 hills surrounding Rajagaha, the hill on the top there, that's called Satipatthana Hill. Seven cave, Satipatthana. Here we have discussed selected 499, Iku, then Ananda Sotapanna. Okay, this one we discussed. So Rajagaha was chosen as a venue because alms food plenty, supported by King Ajatasattu, and plenty of accommodation available. So reason of selecting the place just because good sponsorship, no problem about the alms food, and accommodation also no problem. Then the 3 months after Buddha passed away, around May, June, July to October, the Vasa period. During the 3-month Vasa period, they can, concentrate themselves regarding the meeting affair. So in Rajagaha, all monks went to Rajagaha. So this part we discussed, where I have informed you, I have told you, Ananda attained arahantship in the night before the council. After contemplating his 5 aggregate whole night, he was about to lie down, and before his head touched the pillow, and after he had left the ground, he will gain enlightenment. This part I told you already. So all monks went to the place, Satapani cave, Rajagaha. So this part we had pilgrimage. It's very important place. We are lucky enough to climb up to this place, and we saw all the 7 caves were there. First cave closed, the rest we were there. In fact, we went there during our pilgrimage organized by me in 2014. You just see the right place where first council was held. Okay, never mind. The place where first Buddhist council was held. It's on top of my There's 7 cave, Sati 7. The place where first council was held. 500 Arahant were there, but now the place become narrow. Okay, the cave very narrow, small. So this was a place where first council was held. Remember, next time you go for your pilgrimage, try to visit this place. It's very near to Bamboo Grove. Only thing that is there, you all have to climb for about 45 minutes. Not very difficult, not very stiff, but for old men a bit difficult lah. For young people, no problem. Then okay, venue, number Arahan attendee have been selected, place have been selected, sponsorship also no problem. The king will sponsor, accommodation no problem. So next thing, meeting. Mahakasapa, because he called a meeting, he became the chairman. He chaired the meeting. So first agenda, he called upon Venerable Upali to decide the Vinaya rules first. So you know Upali, why he was asked to decide Vinaya? Because Venerable Upali, before he became a monk, he was a barber. He cut hairs for all those who want to go for to become a monk. So every time he shave the hair for all the monk, potential monk, he heard all the rules, all the proceeding regarding the ordination, this and that. So he was a right person. He knows all the rules very well. So during meeting, Mahakasapa sure asked Venerable Upali, you know rules very well. You know the proceeding, ordination rule, this rule, that rule. So you are the one who knows all the rules. So come and decide all these rules that you can remember for all the rest of people to listen. So Venerable Upali start deciding all the monks' rules during a meeting. So he decided rule one, first rule, second, third, fourth, first. He began with 4 parajikas, major offenses, then not so serious one. The most serious one he will decide first. See, then not only rule for the monk, bhikkhus, he also decided a rule for the bhikkhuni. Of course, during the time, bhikkhuni is still around but not now you see. So first 3 months after Buddha passed away, there were bhikkhunis also. The rules were still there. So to be fair, he decided not only the bhikkhus rule, he also decided bhikkhunis bhakti moksha rules, you see. All these rules he decided. So first, most important rule, then second group, third group, the 8 or 9 groups of offenses. So every rule he decided, as a chairman, Mahakasapa had to verify, he asked this Venerable Upali, when was it rule was promulgated, why, on what occasion, all the places, you see. Mahakasapa questioned him regarding place, subject, occasion, individual, concern who? This one who broke the rules. So that Buddha had to, no choice, had to advocate the rule or list down the rules. Any exemption or not, you see. What are the important issues concerning this? Any amendment later, any exemption, who will be guilty? Every details. So for every rule decided by Venerable Upali, Chairman Venerable Kasapa were questioning all these details. Everyone listened, agree, then they memorize. They treat it as okay, confirm. This is a rule passed down by Buddha those days, as heard by Venerable Upali. So one by one, according to the Theravada's record, there are 200 over rules, today's version. So all these are according to this tradition, all memorized by Venerable Upali. So all after Upali has memorized and decided all the 200 rules, then the rest of the monk, 400 over Arahant, remember and remember the event in their head. Or all these were the rules passed down by Buddha and heard by Venerable Upali. So from now on, Buddha is not around. The monks here have to memorize, they have to transmit and to teach all the rest, inform all the rest of the Sangha members so that everyone follow the same rule. So when Upali finished all the 200 rule, next thing, the sutta. Next, Venerable Ananda. And as I say, why Ananda was asked to decide the Dharma, the sutta? Because he was personal attendant and heard all the sutta directly and personally from Buddha's mouth. Right or not? And not somewhere heard from here and there, you see. So the rightfully the most reliable monk that others can hear the right teaching of Buddha is from Ananda, since Buddha is not around. So Ananda, next one, after Upali, who recited rule, Ananda recited the Dharma Suttas. So according to tradition, Theravada tradition, says that Ananda started reciting the Brahmajala Sutta. Brahmajala Sutta, the first sutta recorded or listed in the Dika Nikaya. The first Nikaya you read, first sutta is Brahmajala Sutta. Then the second sutta listed in the Dika Nikaya, number 2 is Samana Pala Sutta. Right, no? So tradition says that Brahmajala Sutta delivered at by Buddha, but then historically we know Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta was first one Buddha taught in Sanak, the 5 companions. For this recitation purpose, councils, Ananda somehow started with Brahmajala Sutta instead of this Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. You see? So never mind, it's something not so important, you see, whether this one appear first in the sutta in the record, or whether Dhammacakka first started record. We know Buddha began his teaching in Sanak, talking about the Dhammacakka, even though Brahmajala appear in the Nikaya. Never mind, we know the facts, you see. So the tradition say, tradition here I refer to the later record, the commentary. Commentary refers to those texts compiled in Sri Lanka few hundred years after Buddha passed away. The people, the monk there commented, scholar monk commented, interpreted the teaching of Buddha. They say that, the most important commentary text for this Vinaya called Samanta Pasadika. The text called Samanta Pasadika is a commentary to the Vinaya. It says what, you know, Ananda started with Brahmajala Sutta, and then he decided all the sutta at the end. All the 5 Nikaya also decided by Ananda, even though the scholars say that during the time, very beginning, no such thing as 5 Nikaya yet. Ananda merely memorized, and he decided what all the sutta that he knew. That's all. That is from the the Vinaya record. You see, but Vinaya record says that Ananda only decided all the sutta one by one, and not 5 Nikaya. Only the later texts, they say 5 Nikaya were decided. Abhidhamma also decided, even though from the primary source, as I told you, the basic text, Vinaya, Chulavaka. Chulavaka never say they decided Abhidhamma, and Chulavaka never say they decided 5 Nikaya. Only the later text only talk about this. So this piece of information I will to tell you. In fact, a lot of this article that you read here and there, Facebook, you can't differentiate. They never tell you whether the information came from the early text, Vinaya, or came from the later text, commentary, Samanta Pasarika. So any information saying that during the first council, 5 Nikaya was decided, and Abhidhamma was decided, all this from the later saying, not the early saying. And the later saying also say that, after Ananda decided all the sutta, then the 5 Nikaya were compiled and to be, to be allocated to different monks. For example, they say, oh, Ananda and his disciple responsible to memorize the Dikha Nikaya. Oh, Majjhima Nikaya will be allocated to so and so which monk and the disciple. The allocation of work for them to memorize, for them to transmit orally were well described in the later text, but not in the Vinaya early text. They never say about this. Allocation of work were mentioned in the later text. So remember, from the early Vinaya, you only talk about Ananda, memorized and decided the sutta. That's all. So whatever extra things all came from later text. So as usual, when Ananda decided all the sutta one by one, as a chairman, Mahasatipatthana questioned him again. Just I question Venerable Upali about the rule. Here, Venerable Mahasatipatthana asked Ananda about the place where this sutta was decided or preached by Buddha. Where, when, why, to whom, what purpose? You just know that the proceeding. Whenever Ananda decided a sutta, Kassapa had to question him regarding the place, the when, the subject matter, to whom, why. Standard things. Otherwise, people say Ananda simply memorized any proof or not, right or not. So had to verify. That's why Mahasatipatthana asked various questions to confirm the genuineness of the sutta. So normally during a meeting, Ananda always begin with Ivame Suttam. Sorry. Because he heard it from Buddha personally. He had to inform other people. I heard about it. Thus I heard. Okay. Sorry, right. I drive now. So regarding the first council, Ananda only decided sutta. Venerable Upali decided Vinaya. That's all. No such thing as Abhidhamma decided during first council. Only the later Sri Lanka monk, they say Abhidhamma also decided, but not from the basic, not from the earliest Buddhist text. They never say Abhidhamma text was decided. You see, Abhidhamma text was compiled much later after Buddha passed away, few hundred years. Yes. So the proceeding, the two major agenda during the meeting, recitation of rules by Upali, recitation of sutta by Ananda. These two most important things. So meeting the historical importance refer to this. First time Buddha's teaching sutta and his rules were officially codified, systematically arranged, and one shot decided for all the monks to remember in the history of Buddhism. So this is one of the most important achievements regarding this council. Of course, there are other things other agenda. Next important thing, beside the recitation of rules and sutta, the next important thing is regarding the minor rule. You know, every 3 months before Buddha passed away, they wander from the Rajagaha, they walk all the way to Kusinara. So during the period, Buddha told Ananda about the minor rule. You see, so Buddha told Ananda. So after the Parinibbana passed away, so those small rules you can go do away after his death. You see, first paragraph. Shortly before Parinibbana, Buddha told Ananda, if the Sangha wishes, lesser and minor rule may rule away after his death. But Buddha did not elaborate, did not item by item, one by one, inform Ananda that which one are minor, which one are major, which one important or not important. He did not give detail. And Ananda did not ask Buddha also which one are important or which one are minor. You know why? Because he was the time he was not in a good mood, very sad. So Buddha only mentioned this. He never asked in details. You see. So meeting, people question Ananda. So since Buddha told you about the minor rules that can do away, which are the minor rules? Oh, Ananda, sorry, I didn't ask the time. Why? At the time I was very sad. He said, I was very grieved. So people was a bit unhappy the meeting, during meeting. You should ask Buddha for more details. So no choice. So people start questioning whether to follow Buddha's advice or not, to rule away with a minor rule or not. So they also argue, which one considered minor, which one major. They debate, no solution. So finally, Mahasatipatthana has put a stop. Keep all the rules to be safe. Because why? Some of the rules are not only concern the monk, they also concern all the lay people. So if you all the lay people consider not important, and suddenly you say, oh, only to follow, people may grumble. You may suspect that, oh, after Buddha passed away, all these rules you also never follow. So to prevent misunderstanding, all these things, so Mahasatipatthana make a right decision. So okay, all the rules, whether big or small, we just maintain. That's the right thing, you see. Finally, he decided to keep all the rules. Some rules concern lay people, worrying that lay people might misunderstood, criticize the monk for deleting the rule. Correct or not? So this is the third agenda after the citation, rule, sutta, discussion about the minor rule. Then this one not, they begin to charge Ananda. Oh, Ananda, at least four offenses. He say, why this lesser rule never ask Buddha for detail? Or Ananda explained that, oh, he was overwhelmed with grief at that time, was very sad. Buddha said he about to die, pass over, Parinibbana, I got no mood. I just heard it, or lesser rule can be done away. I never ask for detail. The time not in the mood. Okay, they say okay lah, not in the mood. Second charge, Buddha's garment. Why you tread on the garment itself? Because during the time when Ananda was preparing for a garment, himself alone, nobody helped him. So no choice. Sometimes you step here and there and you do this and that. He got a reason to explain. So okay. Number 3, the monk during the first council meeting accused Ananda again. Why you let when Buddha pass away, the body remains in Salat Grove there? Why you let the woman salute Buddha first? All right. And normally during that time, men should be allowed to salute first. So Ananda explained that they wanted the lady to salute so that they can go back early, not too late. So his reason. So they accused Ananda for about 4 things, never ask for lesser rule. Why he tread on Buddha's garment? Why let the lady salute Buddha first? Then the next thing they accuse Ananda. Buddha, during the last 3 months, when Buddha was about to pass away, very sick, Buddha say, if you request, I can live for another eon. Eon means another kalpa, millions a year, And then they say, Ananda, the monk during a council meeting, they say, Ananda, you should ask, requested Buddha to live for another eon, since Buddha already give you some hints, Buddha give you some hints. If people requested, I can live for another eon. And I don't have to go into Pali Dipana now. In 3 months later, I can carry on another eon, another billion years from our perspective. Ananda said, oh, I was influenced by Mara. Mara, the evil one, cover my hearing, this influenced my mind. I could not request. The time we knew Mara can tell him, you see. So, okay, no choice. Then another offense. The monks accused Ananda during a meeting, 4 or 5 offenses. 5 offenses, rules, minor rules, treating garments, never ask Buddha for to live for another eon, and let the woman salute first, this and that. People accuse Ananda. So next thing he say, why you help the woman to go for, to be ordained, to be admitted into order? You know the history of Bhikkhunis, establishment of Bhikkhuni order in it. Ananda helped Mahapajapati and the 500 Sakya lady. They walk all the way from Buddha's hometown to Vaishali, requesting Buddha to let them go for. Right? That part of story I'm supposed to teach today, but unfortunately or unfortunately, I let someone to take over that due to my condition. I can only teach this first council. So these issues, Ananda helping women to gain, to be admitted into order. People also not happy, you see. Why he praised women? So Ananda say, oh, he helped this Mahapajapati because his stepmother took care of Buddha when he was young. So gratitude, so to pay back, so that her form to become a bhikkhuni. So this is a reason. So they also accepted, okay, Ananda, all these offenses, no problem. So since Ananda committed all these offense before he became Arahant, so now became Arahant, so you cannot punish Arahant. So right now, all these offenses committed long before that. The time Arahant Ananda was Sotapanna, but now Ananda already gained enlightenment during one night before the meeting. So even during the meeting, you're bringing out or you brought out all these offenses. No point, not effective. Now I'm Arahant, so okay, not enforceable. Right on. So there's just an academic interest. Now next thing, during a meeting, charges against the Chanya. Chanya, the charioteers of Buddha in it. Before enlightenment, he brought the horse, white horse, Kandaka. And that Buddha rode on the midnight. They went out outside the east gate of the palace. There was a story with great denunciation. We're not going to talk today. So this Chanya, the charioteer, was very arrogant, So before Buddha passed away, he told the monk, later you must punish Chanya, pass a rule, excommunication. They're very serious. Excommunication means all the monks don't get in touch, don't boycott or something like that in modern sense. Boycott him, you see. Don't let him be a part of the Sangha member. So meeting passed a rule, you know. But Chanya did not attend a meeting. He was not an Arahant yet. So after the meeting, Ananda went to see Chanya regarding the judgment, the decision during a meeting, that he would be excommunicated. So Chanya heard the news. He was very sad. Excommunication. The meeting decided to excommunicate, social boycott. So after meeting, Ananda informed Chanya regarding a penalty. Who was very shameful, repentant. He was not an Arahant yet. So since people boycotted him, he went privately alone to somewhere else, and he practiced very hard alone. But he attained Arahantship shortly after that. So before people excommunicated him, but now he's an Arahant. So the rule no more effective, cannot be imposed on him. So people still treat him as a normal Arahant already. No more excommunication. So China's case also settled. So proceeding all over at the end of meeting. So meeting ended. So at this point, any questions? Any questions? From the starting point when all ascetic, Kasapa and the 500 disciple met the Ajivaka ascetic, got the set meal, until the calling of the meeting, until the ending of the meeting. Any question?
Brother Yap, why is it that China is very arrogant? I thought he was helping Buddhas to free the palace that night.
The detail was not mentioned, but the books only say that he was arrogant. In fact, who consider him as arrogant? Buddha consider, other monks also consider as arrogant, that's all.
Okay, all right.
He called that. And then I cannot simply call out, sorry, why you arrogant because maybe he think that he was personal character of Buddha right from the beginning, before he gained enlightenment until now. He was very proud. Maybe that was what I guess.
Okay, all right.
I cannot simply put this in an answer. This is what I think only.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Right.
sadhu.
Anything? Because the main question, essence about this council is up to here, up to this part, 15. The rest all minor things already. Question only up to 15. Any other thing, if you know first 15 slices, that's good enough for your exam. Any other things? So at the end of the meeting, meeting took about 3 months, WhatsApp period. Of course, they cannot conduct it until the very last day, 3 months. Roughly about second month, end of second month, more or less, all the issue all settled already, Sangiti. Tradition commentary says that this is all the later news. The tradition, the commentary says that commentary means those texts compiled few hundred years after Buddha passed away. They comment on certain historical fact. They comment on certain Buddhist history or records or these things. So they call commentary. Commentary text mainly compiled in Sri Lanka by Sri Lankan monk in Mahavihara, Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka. So this commentary text recognized by Theravada tradition, also form of the Theravada's teaching, because if you read Vinaya or read Nikaya, certain technical terms, issues, concept, quite difficult to understand. So later monk, they interpret, they explain all this explanation, the comment on the certain issues are recorded down separately, called commentary. So that people, if you read the sutta, this and that, not very sure, ambiguous term, then you refer to a commentary. Yeah, every Nikaya they have different volume of commentary. The Vinaya also got a commentary text called Samanta Pasadika. You see, okay, Sister Ko or Brother Ko, any questions?
Yes, Brother Yap.
Yes, your face, please.
Yeah.
Familiar. Ha ha ha.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you for the first
Louder, please.
Can
Louder,
you hear me?
a bit soft. I'm afraid that I may hear wrongly and answer wrongly.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'll on my mic louder.
Yes.
So because is this the Buddhist Council recorded in the Vinaya? According to your source, recorded, but
Sorry.
the
Recorded in the Vinaya, the present volume.
Oh, okay. Because
Present volume.
it was supposed to be after the recitation.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So
that's why the scholar question this. See, Buddha already passed away 3 months. So this detail of this first council and the second council, because Vinaya only recorded 2 councils, not the 3rd and 4th council. So the question is, since Buddha already passed away, for example, distribution of relics, cremation, how Buddha's body was carried here and there, actually spoken by Buddha. Can Buddha say, talk in the heaven and make hell of noise so people listen and record now?
So these are more
issues, first council, second council, cremation, this and that. Scholars say compiled by the later scholar monk. Based on their understanding, they have added into the sutta, combined together. So that according to history, we interpret Buddha's teaching from 2 separate angles, I'm favored in the academic field. So whenever I talk, I bring out traditional point as well as from historical point of view. But from the Sanghas, all the die-hard devotee of Theravada, they always follow the traditional view. Traditional view, my master said that this Buddha's word means Buddha's word. Whether things happen after Buddha passed away or not, still Buddha's word. This is the mentality. This is what we call tradition. That's why I always add in the word tradition or according to history. But in this, regarding this first council, second council, there's no archaeological evidence to prove it, So far, any evidence pertaining to the history of Buddhism only began from the Asoka's time, because Asoka left a lot of pillar inscription, this and that, rock inscription. That was the earliest evidence regarding the history of Buddhism, black and white. Okay, before that, we had to refer to the textual evidence. Textual evidence, the sutta, what we have today, we believe is true. Vinaya record, we believe is true. But from a scholar's point of view, obviously, first council, second council happened after Buddha passed away. Can you say that is a Buddha's word? But these are separate issues. But scholar will not believe it. Exactly, Buddha talk about first, second council. Right or not? Rationally. But the traditional die-hard devotee will believe it always. So that people always argue, but we don't want to argue. I say you are correct, you follow a tradition. That's all. But from our academic point of view, we still have in doubt. We believe that when Sutta Vinaya were compiled, later a lot of information were added in here and there, rectification, classification. This is 100% true. 100% true. You read the present volume of Nikaya, anything, in compare to those languages as inscribed on a rock and a pillar or Asoka, you find a lot of differences. You know, this is a separate issue, not for your MBE level. Maybe in your BA, MA level, then we talk about it. I hope you can take up our diploma course. We are KCBA is going to start a diploma in Buddhism together with the Sri Lanka University, July 1st. I will be teaching the first topic, historical background of Buddhism, how Buddhism originated, July onwards. So this is our last lesson for me to teach in MBE. Later you don't see me in higher class no more, and diploma maybe. So this issue is very controversial. If you bring up and argue with those die-hard people, they will wallop you. Be careful. That's why I never discuss it in public. Argue and argue. Oh, this is Buddha's word, first two counsel. Then you say, how can Buddha pass away? 3 months already. How can you say Buddha's word in the heaven? He tell you all these things. Academic scholar will rational, will investigate. Oh, you cannot be. How can? So we don't argue about this. We just follow this. According to tradition, it's something like that. According to history, it's something like that. That's all. Enough. Be neutral. That's all. Okay.
The second question I'd like to ask, in your earlier slide, the purpose of the first council,
Yes.
to compile, is it recorded as well in Sanskrit?
Recorded in what sense? Because those, you never say based on all the discussion talking, no tape recorder, you memorize only. Those they call suti, if you, because I taught in those program, diploma, regarding how Tipitaka was compiled. This is one of the most important topics you have to know, how Tipitaka was gathered and compiled, starting from the first council and then through the allocation, division of work, the tradition. This one you memorize this. There are a lot of processes. Then memorize from master to a disciple generation to that. Slowly, after some time, as I say, fourth council in Sri Lanka, then only record down black and white. Then after that, a lot of revision. Scholars say revision, but traditionalists never say 100%, all exactly same as the first council. That's the tradition. So I have to differentiate, otherwise people got confused. Subsequently, a lot of revision, a lot of evidence, because they study the grammar, the term they use. Hey, this term never used in Magadha. How come this term they use in appear in a rock relic and the pillar somewhere else, very far from Magadha, India? Oh, they say Pali must be somewhere else. A later version they might change this, but these are different issues. So
brother, you mentioned about the MBE. I don't know the other one coming on July. That one is on physical one, right? Not Zoom one.
Oh, Zoom.
Zoom also. Oh,
Visual. You visit our KCBA website. We're launching this program now.
Okay.
Very
Thank
cheap.
you.
One of the top universities, Sri Lanka. We only organize for them teaching. So any questions regarding this? You have to be very clear whether you learn this from which angle, tradition or from history, from academic point of view. Be very clear. Otherwise, people mention this from traditional point of view. Whatever things, first council, second council, all from Buddha's word, this and that. That's their view. So be very clear about your position. That's all. The facts. Because all these teachings here, some came from tradition based on the late commentary, some based on the early text, but not historical, archaeological evidence. As I told you, archaeological evidence regarding this first council, you can't find. Right or not? No such thing. Where can you find any hard evidence regarding a first council? except from the earliest text, Vinaya and Sutta, that's all. That's the internal textual evidence. Correct or not? You talk about yourself. You believe yourself is true. But of course, textual evidence, they also refer to some other Hindu texts. This is too difficult for you. Don't get confused now. Other question? So we carry on after the meeting, after this council. At the end of the meeting, there's, as usual, all the official council meeting, once the sutta have been confirmed correct, or rectified already, all the rule confirmed correct, all the monks agree, then they have to all in all recite, memorize in unison, chanting together few times so that they memorize and live. After that, they go back, no one to consult. They have to teach their own disciple so that the teaching will be transmitted orally from generation to generation. So according to the tradition, they say that all 5 Nikaya as well as Abhidhamma were decided. But this one is a later theory. Early theory only says that Sutta and Vinaya were decided. Okay. Then according to the later tradition, later saying, so they all the teaching regarding the rules were classified according to this group. Major offenses, one group. Minor one group of rules. So different rule, if they consider important, one group. 4 parajika. No sexual misconduct, no stealing, no claiming you are enlightened, and so and so on. So all the rules were classified accordingly, according to the seriousness. How serious was it? So at the end, they got a summary text, Parivara, summary and classification of Vinaya. So this text, according to the scholar, were compiled in Sri Lanka, few hundred years after the first council. So the scholar monk in Sri Lanka compiled another text just to be added into the Vinaya rule. Okay. Even though this is according to the tradition, later text and commentary, the classification not agreeable by modern scholar. Modern scholars say this type of classification was done later, not during the first council or shortly first council. So historical significance you have to know. Exam, they will ask you why first council was important. What sort of goal they have achieved? At least 2, retain minor rules and systematically codify all sutta and Vinaya rules that was spoken by Buddha. That's why Ananda heard it. He must say that Ivame Sotam. Thus I heard it. He cannot say, oh, Buddha's rule is like that. He qualified himself. So there's another important historical fact that exam won't ask you. Yes. You know, after the meeting, there was another disciple of Buddha, Purana, one of the 10 disciples, great disciple of Buddha, Purana. He also outstation, so-called outstation, not he did not present in the in the meeting. He did not appear during the cremation, during the distribution of relics. So he was with his disciple, 500 again. In a Buddhist text, always mention 500 Arahant attend meeting, 500 Kassapa and his 500 disciple outside Pawa, and the Purana also 500, all 500 the standard number. So Purana managed to return, you know, up when he arrived at the Rajagaha, was too late, meeting over. So the monk there told Venerable Purana, oh, our meeting is over already, now only you came. Then he said, the monk told Purana, oh, during the meeting, Ananda decided all this sutta, you know, and then we Upali decided all this Vinaya rule, you know, you have to remember and follow and convey that your disciple knows all these things. But then Purana told the monk, oh, I personally also heard a lot of rules, a lot of sutta from our master himself personally. So I rather follow his teaching rather than what you have heard from Ananda. You see, this is one of the story. Why this is important? Because later, Purana and his disciple would read some rules, difference, not spoken, not decided by Upali, you know. Those rules concerning the food, the cooking, the storage of food in the temple. So this Purana and the disciple, they have a different rule, different understanding, different from Upali. And their school later, they form a Buddhist school, slightly different rule from the Theravada school. So this is one of the stories. After this, even though it's not important in the first council, but later maybe you will be wonder why Puranas form another school is slightly different Vinaya rule, allow the people to cook, store food in their temple. This is because Purana say, I heard it from Buddha. Ananda Upali never mentioned in the meeting. You see, I rather follow Buddha rule personally. You see, so this is another story. Question: why Dhamma Vinaya rule as decided accepted by all monks? Were this one the Purana story will answer this. Never mind, not all except Purana. Know the difference between traditional account and the modern opinion. This one I explained to brother Ko already. So basically we finish the whole thing. Purana, this one I explained to you and was told by Bhikkhu that Dhamma Vinaya had been decided and chanted. He was asked to learn the text. However, Purana, he will memorize what person heard from Buddha. This one I explained to you already. So basically I covered the whole thing today. 3:30, 2:30, 3:30. Yeah. 1 hour plus. Good enough. The Bhikkhuni orders, they want some teacher has taken over. Otherwise, in the last year, I talked about 2 things. Bhikkhuni's order and the first council. But today, because of time effect, because of the last day, last minute arrangement, I can only cover first council. Any more questions before we stop the lessons?
Brother, yeah, sorry,
Yes.
about the just now the question you said, the difference between the tradition account is those that is direct from the recitation. They get their evidence from what Ananda say, right? But the modern opinions, these are I'm trying to separate it. The modern opinions are
Yes.
more from the scholar. So the
Yes.
scholar, they are more keen on archaeology evidence. Are you saying they are more based on text?
Yes.
At the same time, also archaeology evidence that we could not trace back, except from the Asoka period. Can I say that?
There are two ways to interpret, to learn Buddhism as well as any other discipline. One is from traditional point, one is from historical or academic point. So mainly from mouth to mouth, from generation to generation. My Sifu told me like that, this is Buddha, so I have to remember and faithfully believe his truth. And then next time I will teach my disciple the same thing. Oh, this is Buddha's word, don't question, don't find anything. Word, generation, then this is tradition.
Okay.
Do this your father do this, your father is Tan, next time Tan, tradition. Very salam, tradition. But modern scholars say, oh, this is not suitable for you to hold this and that. That's a separate issue. This is from so from this study, we say tradition is one thing. Historical or academic another thing. Academic or historical based on hard evidence. If you say, my Sifu say like that, is it true or not? Any evidence to show me? Preferably, there are so many types, textual evidence, external, internal texture, or they may based on archaeological evidence, this and that,
Okay.
to spread the truth, so that these theories keep on changing, always up to date, stick to the truth, any evidence to support it. This is academic way of interpreting or following our study as more scientific, you know. But in this case, unfortunately, first council, we don't have archaeological evidence. As I told you, the earliest archaeological hard evidence only appears few hundred years after Buddha passed away, during Asoka's time. You can see all the inscription rock. So this first council, you will talk about the academic evidence, will only based on the earliest textual evidence. The earlier textual evidence, Sutta, Vinaya, and not later text, commentary. So fortunately, the traditional people who follow traditional aspect based on not only the earlier but later commentary text. So in this case, traditional people based on early text as well as later commentary, whereas the academic based on the early and not the later commentary text. Because later commentary, how many 100 years only come up with this theory, and then it's not from the early point and not so close to Buddha's time, you see, not evident, not so reliable, too remote, evident, called too remote. 800 years only come up with theory, or 100 years close to Buddha's time. Which part of evidence you believe? I don't know. This is one of the criteria that the scholar always question. I rather believe Sutta and the Vinaya compiled early during Buddha's time, rather than the commentary compiled 800 years in Sri Lanka by other people.
What about archaeology? Would it be helpful
as
for
I say,
us?
so far archaeology, in this case, no archaeological evidence. Only you want to find archaeological evidence during Buddha's time. No way, man. Even you go to India, you know, Bukhara, this and that, all this during Buddha's time. Correct or not? You have archaeological evidence. Is it close to Buddha's time or not? Is it pertaining, or the evidence is too remote in a legal term? Too remote. It won't make any sense. 1,000-year-old time, you come out with theory, say, oh, this is archaeological evidence, people throw away. You know, this is a complicated issue, the law evidence. A lot top one, you see.
Yeah, got it. So it's reliable as long the thing is
reliable,
closer
yes.
to Parini. But I mean that the distance of time, I think that's the most reliable support to be more concrete of all the accounts of true teaching.
So in this case, we rely on the Sutta and the Vinaya itself, because it's, as I say, even the first council only decided Vinaya in the
Sutta.
First evidence, the most primary evidence, though we can't get the reliable, concrete archaeological evidence. You see, the closest one regarding the genuineness of the Sutta is what, you know, in one of the Asoka's pillars, he mentioned about 5 or 6 sutta that he always emphasized people to learn. And this sutta, the name of sutta, inscribed onto the rock, I think rock or pillar. The scholar managed to trace out from the present volume of the canon, Tipitaka, and he found those few sutta mentioned by Asoka actually also can be traced out in our present volume of Nikaya, that shows that. And another thing is that Parinibbana of Buddha and Asoka's enthronement, ascension of the throne, is 100 over years, very close, you know, the modern scholars say 1988 meeting. That shows that whatever sutta recorded and mentioned Asoka appear in the modern book, Canon Nikaya. That means the sutta must have been spoken or appear during Buddha's time. Yeah, that's the latest evidence, archaeological evidence regarding whether the sutta, what we have today, actually spoken Buddha or not. You know, evidence appear in Asoka's.
Best accurate one, I would say that,
Yes,
because
yes.
it's closest to the periods of
Yes,
the
yes.
Parinirvana is 100 years apart.
100 over plus years, you see. Even though the rock edict never mentioned 100%, few thousand sutta, you just mentioned a few, you know, Asoka mentioned a few for ethic. Unfortunately, I don't, Asoka's contribution for higher class, I'm going to talk about if I have time, otherwise I cancel the topic also, but not for your class.
Okay, sadhu, right?
So there's a good evidence people seldom mention to prove that whether what we have, those sutta we study are not actually spoken by Buddha. Asoka's pillar came out with a list, a few sutta that modern scholars have actually traced and confirmed that it appear in the modern text. Fortunately, all the record, the pillar number, rock pillar number have been codified, have been mentioned back and forth. You refer to Dhammika, Venerable Dhammika's books, all the records of the Asoka, then you read up which one appears, then you know. One of is Rahula Wada Sutta, the one appear. The one appear. The recommended by Asoka. He always ask people to follow this sutta, become a good monk, good people in the Asoka's mission. He recorded and inscribed onto the pillar, you must follow the teaching of the Dharma. He never mentioned Buddha, Dharma, this sutta, that. A few. There's a good evidence for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything? 3 things already. Nobody asked, then I think.
Ready, yeah. So in the case of MBE exam,
Sorry?
in the case of MBE,
Very soft.
or you can't hear, can you?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So just now you mentioned about the tradition and the tradition and the scholar.
Tradition.
So when you come to MBE exam, which should we follow?
To be a neutral, to be honest to yourself, you have to follow academic and scientific method rather than a blind belief. Oh, my father said this must be true. My father said this must be true. I must tell my generation this is true without questioning. Buddha say you must always verify, right or not? When you heard from any teaching from any Sangha member, whether even though he is the head of the Sangha, whether he expert, you believe 50%, correct or not?
Because when you
go back and trace to the text to confirm it before you accept it. Correct or not?
Explain the tradition and then at the same time explain the commentary. If you can write it there, this is according to commentary, that will be very good. Otherwise, you got to follow the green book, because the text you got to follow the green books. The one by Narada, that will be the answer. That's what the examiner the book.
To be academic, a genuine scholar, you mentioned 2 sides. You don't criticize this and that. You say, oh, tradition is like that. Yes, I say, according to modern scholar believe like that. That people decide it. That people accept it. Your mind is traditional. Yes. If you are very traditional, you just follow it because your exam is based on your green book, and not from my saying, Yeah. Okay, you follow this will be very safe. Okay, brother, go. Anything? No more.